Hello, world. Your favorite podcast host, Anthony Diaz, here with another episode of 50 States of Terror. I'm a little flustered right now. I think I grabbed a new cord because the cord it just won't. The phone is all wonky right now, and I won't stand on the stand very well. This is a brand new Rode cord, and they're thick. It's a thick ass cord. Rode makes really good products, man. So. It's time to invest in a new phone stand, is what I'm trying to say. I need a new phone stand for doing this. I'm in my car again because I feel comfortable in here in the privacy of my own car, in line right now, picking up my boy, and wanted to do an episode, of course, because one is due tomorrow. So this is me recording last minute because I had an incredible amount of work I had to do. What's new? Grad school is almost done for the first semester. Oh, if you heard that was my stomach because I'm hungry. Last day of class is I think the 15th of December. Let me move this real quick. Oh, it's making the camera move. Good Lord. I'm all fucked up today. So I have my final project in Python, and I have my final exam for Prob and Stats. So Prob and Stats, I need to do a lot of refreshing. I don't know if I'm just getting older. It's probably because I'm getting older. But it's getting harder to store new information in here. Does that make sense? It's getting harder to do that. So I'm cool for like the first, I don't know, week or so, and then it just brain dumps, and I'm like, what the hell did I just learn? Like probability and mass function. What is that again? Like, oh Lord. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. That is where I'm at. I'm excited to have my first semester done. I don't know how I'm going to pay for the spring semester, but I'll cross that bridge when I get there. I had 2 interviews. One yesterday, one today. Yesterday one, pretty excited for. The one for today, very excited for. It'll be a large pay raise. And you'll be doing end user IT work. So I'm hopeful that I'll hear something back this week and to get a full-time job, because I'm pretty tired of only working part-time and making things try to fit where they need to be. And yeah, so I'm grateful for a job. Don't get me wrong. But trying to find full-time work nowadays is pretty difficult in my career field. So, but like I said a couple of episodes ago, I'll dig ditches if I have to. I'll dig ditches as long as it gives me full-time work and benefits, insurance, all that jazz. I'm there for it, man. I am there for it. So, this episode is another international episode. So what I did, like the previous international ones, is I chose a country. Oh, and if you're hearing little pitter patters, it's because it's sprinkling outside, and I'm parked right underneath the giant tree. So little smooth ASMR for you. You know what I'm saying? All right, so I chose Brazil because it was the top, I think the top 4 of the past 5 episodes, countries that downloaded the episodes to listen to. So it was top 4. The other ones were France and Singapore was 1 and 2. And then close behind was Canada. So I'm actually going to do France. I'm going to do France next after I do the next state, which is West Virginia. And West Virginia, you know which one I'm doing in West Virginia, man. It's Mothman. It has to be Mothman. West Virginia story. That's going to be just a lot of work has to be done for West Virginia, because I have to get it right. West Virginia is one of those, it's a heavy hitter, man. It's a heavy hitter. But before I do that, I am going to do Brazil. And I got notes. I'm pretty stoked about the availability now of having different countries like be I don't want to say exposed to my content, because that sounds pretentious, but like my work is being downloaded in different countries, which is really cool. I haven't hit hundreds of thousands of downloads, but I'll get there. Eventually I'll get there. If people like what they hear, then they'll spread the word. And hey, here's a good plug. If you like what you hear, spread the word. Spread the word, man. I am thankful for every single one of y'all who continue to download and support me. And I'm interested, if I already did an episode of your country, please, man, write the show, email the show, the50SOT, that's THE50SOT@gmail.com, or email the parent company, Alpha Line Productions, I'm sorry, it's Anthony at alphalineproductions.com, or there's another one, Alpha Line Productions LLC @gmail. Just email me, man. Email me and let me know what you think. Let me know if history needs to be changed, if edits need to be done, because I'm all about it, man. I want to get the history right. You know what I'm saying? I want to get the history right. So with that being said, let's venture into Brazil. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, we're going to squeeze centuries of history into about 10 minutes of content. So buckle up. And then pair that with cryptids and we got ourselves a party. You know what I'm saying? Here we go. Today's destination, it is going to be Brazil, the biggest country in South America, home to the Amazon rainforest, the world's greatest soccer debates, and a carnival that makes Mardi Gras look like a neighborhood block party. And that's true, man. I've seen pictures. I haven't been to Brazil. I 100% want to go to Brazil, because Brazil just looks amazing. It looks beautiful. I want to go. So let's rewind way back before Brazil even had the name Brazil. Before Europeans showed up with the flags and maps and a bad habit of claiming land that wasn't theirs, Brazil was home to millions of indigenous people, spread among hundreds of tribes like the Tupi, the Guarani, and the Yanomami. They had complex societies, trade networks, agriculture, and deep spiritual traditions tied to the land. And then Portugal showed up. In 1500, the Portuguese explorer Pedro Alvares Cabral accidentally landed on the Brazilian coast while trying to sail to India. And here we go. It's a classic trying to get to India moment here. Portugal claimed the territory and named it after the Brazil wood tree, which produced a valuable red dye. And this became the first major export of Brazil. Dye from a tree. It wasn't coffee and it wasn't sugar. It was the dye from a tree. Brazil became a Portuguese colony focused on plantations, especially sugar, which required massive labor. Portugal's solution? Slavery. Over the next 3 centuries, more enslaved Africans were brought to Brazil than any other country in the Americas. Nearly 5 million people. This shaped Brazilian culture, food, language, music, and religion profoundly. But it came at an absolutely horrific human cost. Meanwhile, European diseases devastated indigenous communities, reducing population catastrophically. The combination of colonial exploitation and slavery set the foundations of a society that was ethnically diverse, and deeply unequal. Now, jump forward to the early 1800s. Things get weird in Brazil because the king of Portugal decided to up and move there. In 1807, Napoleon invaded Portugal. King João VI panicked, grabbed the royal family, the court, and tons of treasure, and sailed across the Atlantic to Brazil. I 100% would love to be a fly on the wall when that when that was going down. Like, oh, it's just, well, let's rock and roll, let's go, and bring all of his shit and just go ahead and go to Portugal, or go to Brazil. So he picks up and he leaves, and he travels the Atlantic, crosses the Atlantic to Brazil. Brazil, a colony, suddenly became the seat of the Portuguese Empire. Like, imagine waking up one morning and be like, hey, guess what? We're no longer a colony. We are now a kingdom. When the king returned to Portugal in 1821, he left his son behind, Dom Pedro. Portugal tried to reassert control over Brazil. Dom Pedro looked at this situation and went, nope, not going to happen. In 1822, he declared Brazil independent. Brazil didn't become a republic right away. Instead, it became another empire. Brazil spent almost 70 years as a monarchy, ruled by Emperor Dom Pedro I, and then his son Dom Pedro II, who surprisingly turned out to be a pretty cool leader, a pretty cool monarch. He supported science, education, modernization, and the arts. He also had one enormous blind spot: slavery. It was still going on. Brazil, they dragged their feet ending slavery. They ended slavery longer than anyone else in the Western Hemisphere. It was only abolished in 1888. Last place in the Americas to do it, when Princess Isabel signed the Golden Law. And immediately afterward, Brazilian elites were like, all right, if we're going to do that, then let's get rid of you too. So in 1889, 1 year later, the monarchy was overthrown and Brazil became a republic. And that worked out pretty well for the royal family. The early republic was led largely by wealthy landowners and political bosses, a period often called coffee with milk politics, because political power alternated mostly between coffee-rich landowners and dairy-producing business owners. Now, during this time, no one asked the general population for the input. Democracy, although technically present, was functionally zero. It was there, but nobody did anything about it. Then we hit the 1930s, and Brazil got its strongman era. Enter Getúlio. Oh, is that how you pronounce it? Getúlio Vargas, who ruled first as a populist reformer, then was a full-blown dictator. Vargas introduced labor laws, expanded workers' rights, and strengthened national industry while also suppressing political opposition. So he had really good social policies, but with an authoritarian rule. That makes sense? Which is, I mean, hindsight is like, okay, well, that's really good societal, policies, but the fact that it was a dictator doing it was kind of weird, I guess. I don't know. If you're from Brazil, like, I would really be interested to know, like, how are you all taught your own history? Because that would fascinate me. After Vargas, Brazil bounced awkwardly between democracy and instability until 1964, when the military seized power. The dictatorship that followed lasted 21 years and featured censorship, political repression, and imprisonment of the critics. Does it sound familiar? U.S. A lot of today's Brazilian political conversations trace their roots back to this era. Debates about human rights, free speech, and national identity never really cooled down. In 1985, the military stepped aside and Brazil restored democracy. Since then, the country has had regular elections, though the politics are very passionate, polarized, and occasionally dramatic. We still have democracy. Fast forward to modern Brazil. Today is home to over 200 million people, one of the world's most culturally rich nations. Portuguese is the main language, which is why Brazilians don't speak Spanish like most and much of the rest of South America, making Brazil a massive linguistic odd one out on the continent. And by the way, if you've never heard anybody speak Portuguese, it's a fascinating language. It's incredibly fascinating. I tried like maybe a couple of lessons of Portuguese, but I mean, I couldn't linguistically like have it make sense for me. Although I wouldn't mind trying again because it's a very, very fascinating language. Brazil brought the world samba, bossa nova, capoeira, frijoada. I don't know who that is. I don't know what that is. Feijoada. I don't know what that is. It was one of the things listed as a main staple of Brazil, so I added it into it. Sports legends like Pele, and of course the Carnaval, which is a magnificent celebration of life. It is. I've seen the pictures. I want to go one of these years. It just looks amazing. It also houses the Amazon rainforest, often called the lungs of the earth, which plays a huge role in global climate systems. Environmental protection there remains one of Brazil's biggest challenges. Balancing economic growth with conservation is an ongoing struggle. I remember in the 90s, it was all about saving the rainforest, man. And the rainforest will always be that soft spot in my heart as a kid. Because I always pictured, like growing up, they would show us pictures of like deforestation, and there'll be like huge acres of lands that just been part of the rainforest that were just completely wiped away. And that will always be in the back of my mind when I think about the rainforest. Just trying to save the rainforest, man. Save the rainforest, you know? At the same time, Brazil continues wrestling with legacy issues from colonization, colonialism, and slavery, such as income inequality, racism, and political corruption. Does it ring a bell? Sound familiar? Huh? The country shines with creativity and optimism while also facing stark social divides. Modern Brazil feels like a nation made of contrasts. Mega cities right next to rainforests. Ancient traditions mixed with TikTok-fueled pop culture. Unmatched joy in music and sport alongside serious political debates. Which makes sense given its history, a story built from indigenous roots, African resilience, European colonialism, royal drama, dictatorships, and democratic comebacks. So if there's one takeaway from Brazil's timeline, it's this. Brazil is not one story, it's dozens layered upon itself. Its dance floors were built on ancient rainforests, African rhythms echoing through Portuguese words, soccer stadiums in cities once ruled by emperors, and all of it fueled by a national Brazilian belief that even after hardship, injustice, and political shakeups, life should include good music, good food, and a reason to dance. Because of history teaches us anything about Brazil, it's this. No matter what happens, It's a country of tremendous beauty and resilience. Brazil. Let's get into the cryptids. We got the Mapinguari. Oh, did I? Yeah, I already jacked that up. The Mapinguari and the Capelobo. The Mapinguari and the Capelobo. Here we go. These monsters don't live in haunted castles or showery swamps. No, they don't. Nope. These bad boys live in the Amazon. You know what freaks me out more than like haunted, I don't know, hospitals or cemeteries? It's the forests. Like a lot of scary shit happens in the woods, man. So these creatures come from the Amazon rainforest. If you ever seen any documentaries about the forest and like the absence of light during the night, it is so scary. Here we go. The Mapinguari, it is the backwards nightmare. So this first cryptid sounds like something that your brain comes up with from doing drugs right before you go to sleep. I wouldn't know, but I've been told. It is an indigenous Amazonian folklore. This creature is described as tall, anywhere from 6 to 8 feet, covered in reddish or dark fur, with enormous claws and a horrifying smell. But the part that truly earns his nightmare status, it's the mouth on the stomach. That's right. Mouth on the stomach. And this has resemblance from the other one we did for, I think it was Washington. And it was that super long cryptid name. And that one had mouths all over its body, but this one only has a mouth on his stomach. So right in the middle of his torso, like evolution accidentally clicked wrong side. Some versions say that this head has no mouth at all, just eyes, which feels aggressively unfair because at least the mouth should match his face. But it's said to emit ear-splitting screams that echo through the jungle at night. Hunters have described hearing roars that sound neither fully animal nor fully human, which is code word for get the hell out of there. But according to the legend, the Mapinguari is nearly invulnerable. So that means that you can't destroy it. Like bullets fly off, knives can't pierce its fur armor, and trying to go toe to toe with it is you're not going to come out alive, bro. The only weakness that it said it has is the mouth stomach. So it is the target area of how you probably would get away is you just aim all your shots or aim everything to the exposed mouth on the stomach. But everything else is impenetrable. Like, can't get it. I wish I could speak today. I had an interview today. So that's why my mouth is dry. That's why words don't come out very well, because I was talking a lot today. I was talking, you know what's interesting about interviews is, like, a lot of the interviews I've been on for the past like month. This is a complete tangent, by the way, and I apologize, but they're set up so differently. Like, there's no like uniform strategy to go inside of an interview, because I had one yesterday which was very calm, very like low key, asking very simple questions, and sparked up a conversation to where like we're making jokes, and it was a very lighthearted interview. The one today was a little more rigid. There was more technical questions to ask, because this obviously was a technical job. It deals with IT work and my experience with IT. But like there's no real way of knowing how an interview will go. So you can prepare all you want, but like once you go to nitty gritty and you start doing the interview questions, like you think that you might be having a cool conversation, but then like a question comes up. Okay, it's like what is your protocol on XYZ? And you're like, oh shit, I thought we are just having fun. Oh, all right, I really got to tell you what I know. And I have been on interviews where it is like 10 minutes and ask one question just to get a feel of who I am. And then I've been on others to where it's, you take a test, you know? So yeah, I mean, interviews, the whole job process, just look at my resume and let me know if I'm hired or not, dude. Like, well, I guess you gotta kind of know how I am and my personality, I guess. So yeah, there's that. And I should know better. I've done HR work for like 4 years. I know how the process is. It's just a weird process, you know? Like, I don't know. Finding a job is hard. All right, back to the cryptid. Where did this come from? So folklorists believe that the Mapinguari might be based on real encounters twisted by fear. So these are real encounters that first-hand accounts which got freaked out, you know? Your mind plays tricks on you when it's a dark forest. Like I said, forest, horrible. Not horrible for the environment, just horrible in general for your fears at night. Let's see. And storytelling from these animals magically had the magic ability to like twist and turn these could be safe animals to these eldritch horrors. Some theories include a giant ground sloth, because ground sloths were in fact present at this location. Because Brazil used to be home to giant ground sloths thousands of years ago. Towering beasts with claws the size of steak knives. Some cryptozoologists think stories of these long extinct animals survived in folklore, which is true, and gradually morphed into the Mapinguari legend. Others include forest hermits. Others think sightings could be misunderstood encounters with humans. Jungle hermits or shamans covered in vegetation, which does not explain the stomach, mouth, or the invincibility, or the pungent stench of these creatures. So what this means is that this could be a form of, well, you have tribesmen, or you have people who live in the forest areas, and you have people who are not from the area, either exploring or they're either going into the forest, deep into these habitats, encountering these individuals who might be sheltering themselves with plant life that they find, which is it's something that you would believe might happen. Especially when you talking about, well, if your only available resources are the plant life and things around you, then of course you would use them as shelter, as a way of protecting yourself from the sun or from insects or from rain, things like that. Like you use tree bark maybe as, I don't know, armor. I mean, the possibility of this as being a misidentified person is there. Let's go into the encounters. Well into the late 20th century, Brazilian settlers and hunters reported seeing huge upright creatures crashing through the undergrowth, screaming and leaving claw marks on trees. Anyone who went looking for it reportedly found massive footprints, heard loud roars at night, or immediately decided that the healthiest thing was to just observe it from a distance and leave. So there you go. Next, we're going into the Capelobo. Oh yeah, we're doing, I forgot to tell you at the beginning of the episode, we're doing 2 cryptids this episode. We're doing 2. Only because like the amount of research that I found on these were plentiful. So I was able to gather a lot of information and shorten it into hopefully will be no more than a 40-minute episode. So enter the Capelobo. The Capelobo takes a little different approach from the massive creature that we saw in the. I just had the Mapinguari. Good Lord, I'm all jacked up today. What is it called? The Mapinguari. This creature, the Capelobo, is a shapeshifter. By day, the Capelobo can appear as a handsome man, a sleepy traveler, or an ordinary villager. But by night, it turns into a terrifying beast with the body of a man, the head of a giant anteater or tapir, razor-like teeth, yellow glowing eyes. So imagine yourself talking during the day with a handsome lad in your community, and then once the sun goes down, turns into a horrible, horrible creature. According to legend, the Capelobo roams isolated villages looking for travelers who are alone, especially those who wander too close to rivers and forest edge. It lures its victims closer before transforming and attacking. Instead of just killing prey outright, the creature is said to drain blood and devour the brains. So we have a vampire zombie situation going on here. The Capelobo likely comes from indigenous and Brazilian rural folklore as a cautionary tale. Essentially, a jungle version of don't go into deep inside those woods. So we saw that in the Pigman in England episode. We saw it in the Wolf Woman of Alabama. These are stories that the community tells for people to stay away from certain areas. This was a excellent survival tactic. So before there were ever out of frame. Sorry for my viewing audience. I just put my forearm in front of the camera, and you can't see my beautiful face. Before the time where there was a communication efforts, like there was cell phones or GPS and things like that. Before all of that, you had to tell your community, tell your young to not go to certain areas because either there were reports of monsters in the form of predators like bears and mountain lions and creatures that will ultimately kill you at first sight. So these were probably ways to tell your community members to stay away from certain areas. You tell stories. This is how this was done. This is lumberjack stories. This is these are campfire stories that you tell and to instruct your community that instead of telling them that yes, there are creatures and predators out there and deep in the forest that will straight up murder you with claws, bites, diseases, insects, poisonous vegetation. These are ways to tell your people to stay away. You tell them that there's a freaking shapeshifter in the forest. Some reported encounters, include a half man, half animal figures darting from forests, strange vocalizations at night, and human footprints leading into animal tracks and then disappearing. So, again, probably largely based on indigenous folklore, storytelling. Now, we did see this in different episodes with, I think it was the Philippines, where it was a shape-shifting in the form of a woman who lure victims into wooded areas, heavily dense areas. We do see this in different cultures as well. Shapeshifters. Obviously, we see it in werewolves. Werewolves. But again, this is probably one of those things. Another one of those type of stories. I enjoy shapeshifters storytelling. It does fall under the cryptid umbrella. However, based on factual evidence coming from the mindset of a cryptozoologist, I wouldn't quite put it as like maybe like one of the top 20 cryptids that you can actually investigate. You know what I'm saying? But the other one, I keep losing what it is. The good Lord, I'm all jacked up today. the Mapinguari, yeah. The other one, however, that has a strong physical attribute. It has strong physical ties. You can go investigate, whether it is storytelling in the form of finding, let's say, a giant sloth remains and bones, and then going from there and saying, well, okay, this is a creature that obviously once lived, so it's possible it's still out there in the woods. The same thing goes for different things that we talked about on different episodes, such as unicorns or the Thunderbird. This could be explanations on what they perceived as ancient fossils or bones left from agriculture digging, and they discover these large sets of bones. They don't probably know what it was first time seeing it. So what you do is you make a story, and that's how that probably went down. Where was I? Yeah, so let's get into rating of these two cryptids. The Capelobo, I'm gonna let's just do them together. Let's pair them up. Because I really do enjoy these type of stories, these folklore stories that stem from, like, it almost goes into supernatural because we are talking about shapeshifters. But the Mapinguari and the Capelobo together, I'll probably give them a 4.0, a 4 even. If you're new to the show, I skipped this part. When we rate the cryptids from 0 to 5 golden Nessies, 0 being the worst and 5 being the best. I give these two a 4 golden Nessies. I like the story. I like the folklore. Shapeshifters will always be cool. There'll always be that one thing that you hear about in stories, and you can play them as playable characters in games. They're just really cool. And I like the historical significance of the Mapinguari. The possibility that it could be extended from finding old bones from a giant sloth, and you tell a story of what it might be. I like it, so I give it a 4. I like it. Give it a 4. Let's get into Ziggy's wisdom. Ziggy's wisdom for this episode is going to be a short and sweet one. When you are trying to decide what you want to do with the rest of your life, if you're at that point, I know we're going deep this one. If you're at a point in your life and you're wondering, what am I going to do? I've already done this, or my life path has sent me down this road, and I'm not happy, and I want to do something different. When you sit down and you finally decide what you want to do, and you have that little thing of fear in the back of your head, you tell that thing to shut up. I know it's hard. Make a plan, obviously, but you tell it to shut up. You only get, if you believe you only get one shot at this thing called life, then I would hate for you to be 70 years old and wondering if what would happen if you gave it a shot. Of course, have a plan. Don't jump, head first into a pool of cement and think that you can just kind of swim your way out of it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. But if you have the ability, or if you have the resources to where you can do that, and you can afford to fail a couple of times, then more power to you. But start that book, start that paragraph, start that dot, start that line on your masterpiece. Start reading about IT. Start learning about marine biology. Start learning about the stars. Start learning advanced mathematics. Start doing one push-up, one sit-up. Just start. It's not going to be easy, because like the old thing says, the old saying goes, nothing good is easy. It takes work and it takes effort. So, but keep at it, man. I know this is a repeating Ziggy's wisdom, and I said it was going to be short, and it went pretty long, but I know there's somebody out there who just is on the fence of starting. And if you have an hour to spare, and if that 1 hour is sitting in front of a blank screen, or sitting in front of a TV with nonsense on, use that hour, man. Use it. Start something new. Start something that you wanted to try. There are resources out there. I'm fairly confident that there are a bunch of free resources. Speaking of free resources, go visit your library. Go to your local library. We're in a piece of history to where we may not even have libraries anymore. Isn't that weird? So start small. You don't have to go balls to the wall on your first go. But if you can, and if you're able to, and like I said, if you have the resources, man, then go balls to the wall, bro. But I'm saying that because I'm experiencing something that I thought I would never experience again, because this happened 10, 15 years ago, where decisions had to be made, and you kind of like let things flow the way that they flow. But when you have people depending on you, you have to start making hard choices that you need to do, whether it's making money or putting your own dreams to the side. But that doesn't mean that you have to fully abandon what you want to do. Like I said, if you have that hour, that hour to yourself, if you have family that is constantly depending on you for everything, find an hour. It may be rough, but just find an hour. I guarantee you'll feel better. Just find 1 hour. Okay, that's it. Thank you again for listening to me rant and talk into a Rode microphone. And I will keep plugging Rode because Rode's amazing until I get a sponsorship. You hear me, Rode? Oh, speaking of which, it's not Rode, but it's a DJI Osmo Pocket Creator 3. I got one on sale, so I'm excited to try it out, man. I'm excited to try it out. I'm not abandoning Rode. The Osmo content creator is going to be my other mobile recording device. So yeah, there's that. Okay. All right. Again, I truly appreciate everybody who continues to download, continues to listen. Tell your friends. I'm gonna grow. I know I'm gonna grow. I haven't written anything new for Narrative Quest to read, but I plan on recording something on Narrative Quest shortly. I may just read the Christmas poem, Christmas story. Is that what it's called? The Night Before Christmas. I can't remember what the actual name is, but I might read that because I think it's free domain now. It should be. I don't think you have to pay to read that anymore. I don't know, but yeah, content creation is fun. Grad school is stressful, but it's needed. Job search, 100% needed. So yeah, I'm rambling now, but all right. Thank you all. I truly appreciate you again. Have a good day. I will talk to you one more time before Christmas. But yeah. All right. Later, y'all.